Josh here. We've been talking about the square foot garden on the podcast, so I figured it's about time we did a review of the book. First off, it's not just a book, it's a system. He has his idea, his way he thinks is best to do gardening, and that is what is described here. There's a lot of things that you would expect to find possibly in a typical gardening book that it's not there. This is his system. This is not about gardening, this is about square foot gardening. The system's pretty good. If you know nothing about gardening, you can pick this up, follow its instructions, and have vegetables this year. I mean, you don't need to know anything. You don't need to have a garden prepared. Your dirt can suck. And I think that's the beauty of this system. You can immediately start gardening. If you look at the, I guess it's not really a great picture, but you look at the front, everything's in boxes. He does everything in raised beds. You build the bed, you fill it with his little Mel's mix, and you're good to go. At the end of the season, you have vegetables. It's got a pretty big appendix in the back. I mean, you can see all the tabs in here. We got, vegetables at a glance. Little snapshots, talking about different vegetable families. Where's the planting chart? Planting charts. I mean, this is all handy information that as a gardener you would use, and it's all in one place. I mean, honestly, I've kind of outgrown square foot gardening. I think this is good for smaller scale. There's definitely a size. Once you get to a certain size, it becomes very hard to manage. And we'll talk about that in a second. But even though I've outgrown it, we still use it. Up by the house where space is scarce, efficient use of space is important. And that's one of the big concepts in here. He said, why are you growing 30 feet of the same vegetable? You plant just the amount you need in as small of an area as possible so you have less to manage and you're not being wasteful. Another place where you can apply this real well is like container gardening. If you wanted to put, a bed together for on top of on your patio, an extended flower bed, on the railing. I've seen some neat applications of this. But I'm not trying to say this is perfect. This is far from perfect. Nothing's flawless. Those plant snapshots I showed you, they're really generic. It says tomato. Folks, I'm growing 10 varieties of tomato. I've seen catalogs with, 4 or 5 dozen different types of tomato. And they all grow a little different. They all have different wants, different needs. I mean, it's close. They're all mostly the same. But they have differences. I'm not going to beat it up any further than that. And that's why I say that square foot gardening is a good starting point. If you don't know anything, you pick this up. You do what it says. You keep good notes. So oh, well, this thing was too small. This thing was too big. It didn't fit in the spacing that Mel says. And you adjust. That's the biggest complaint I hear about this is that the spacing was wrong. For this vegetable, he said that there was 4 per square feet, but I found that I can only do 1 per square feet. Okay, do 1. The square foot gardening police aren't going to come and arrest you. Learn. I don't remember exactly where he's at, but at his climate, his soil, his weather, his seeds, his specific species of plants that he's growing, it's different than your situation. Too many variables for one plan to work for everyone. Be realistic. But the generalizations, they're a starting point. They're not a good ending point. Another problem with this is that it's kind of expensive. I mean, think about how big you want your garden to be, and imagine going out and buying lumber to build a bed for each and every last bed. And then you have to go buy the ingredients for his special mix. That can add up. And it will really bite you in the butt if you're not Some people follow the rules explicitly. They do what they're told, and they can't go away from that at all. If you want to save money, you have to bend the rules and you have to embrace the idea of good enough. We didn't go out and get all the stuff that he said to get. We couldn't use the dirt that we had because it was almost solid, stinking damn clay. But we didn't make the Mel's mix. Didn't have the money for it. Couldn't find some of it. And probably the last complaint I have about the method, and this isn't about the quality of the book. The book's well written. The ideas are properly conveyed. You know, he doesn't lie. And I don't have a good picture. But in a lot of these beds, he fills them to the top. And if you're trying to be as efficient as possible, you're not going to put any more dirt in a box than you have to. If the box is full of dirt, it's hard to add new stuff to it. It's hard to bring the soil back to where it should be. I don't know if he's expecting us to dump it out and refill it every year, but the little bit of advice he gives is just add a little compost. If I'm planting stuff tight, trying to squeeze every drop of production out of these little boxes that I can, I need to do more to put stuff back into the soil than add a little bit of compost. And if the thing's full, you're not even going to fit a little bit of compost in there. You're not going to fit anything in there. To wrap this up, folks, there's a lot of good things. A lot of good things in this book. If you're starting out, it's a great book. You cannot pick a better first book. It's not a great second book. It's a bad third book. It's a horrible fourth book. You know, you don't look down on a book for being beginner level. It's a quality beginner level book. You just have to use it when it's appropriate. Use it as a tool for beginners. Give it to someone who's just getting started, and they will thank you for it. And that's it. If you want to get more information, leave a comment down below. If you're watching this on YouTube or if it's been embedded somewhere else, go to survivaltrainingonline.com/SFG, and I'll bring you to the show notes and the full article for this review. Good night.